Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to from wherever you are logging in. Welcome to Agile Guru, a place where you can learn and share and also understand about DevOps and reliability engineering and all those things. Today's topic is how to observe your applications. What does that mean? Uh, let's assume that you have deployed an application and you want to know what happens and when. Remember, as part of site reliability engineering, you need to understand what is going on in your environment before you go and fix it. Right? Sometimes it doesn't need fixing. Sometimes you need to understand, oh, how is the application working and all those things. So we will today look at auto observing your Kubernetes cluster and Kubernetes workloads using GKE. The same uh, things can also be applied to other technologies as well, but you have to use a little bit different tool. But today we're going to use GKE. So let's so what does observability mean, right? For example, we need to look at resources, like for example, how much CPU, RAM, disk, or these kind of things which are um, being consumed by your applications or workloads or whatever. The next one is traffic, like what comes in, what comes out, and where it is going, the path, like right from maybe from the load balancer to your Nginx controller to your service to your pods, and these pods may then go to somewhere. So this is how it works. The third one is timing. Timing is about, like for example, what is the time which takes for a request to come in and the client goes and gets it. For example, if it's an HTTP request, you expect it to be done within, let's say, a second or something like that, then you can find out what is the time. All this doesn't really matter unless you know what is the outcome. For example, a person can hit a web app, resource is good, traffic is coming, timing is 1 second, but outcome, if it's an error, then there is no point, right? So you have to understand whether it's good outcome or what come or when its error is occurring, maybe during peak hours and something. So again, reiterating, it's resources, traffic, timing, and outcome. Yeah. Mm. Oh, and we have Akshay joining us too. So just give me a second. Let me add him in. Hello, Akshay. Right. So, oh, where are you logging in from? Goa?
Yes, Guru, I'm
Oh, cool. Right. Nice. Nice. Mm, okay. Maybe you can go on mute because there's a background noise. Okay. Right. So continuing people, as what I meant was observability was resources, the resource where your workloads are taking, the traffic which comes into this application and what goes out, the timing and the outcome. Now, what is normally a flow of implementing an observability tool? For example, let's say you have a environment. An environment can be a Kubernetes cluster or a whole load of other things. But for this topic, we will assume that this environment is a Kubernetes cluster for the demo purposes, but the rules apply to outside anyway. Right. Now, the second one, the first thing which you need to understand as part of your observability tool is something called a collector or data collector, which collects all the data produced by workloads so that it can store somewhere for doing something. So this is like, you know, a person who's sitting there and telling, give me the data, and this is how you can. Then what this collector does is write the metrics to um, a persistent system, because just in case if this collector crashes, it comes up back again. You don't want to write it to a memory. So what it does is writes it to a metrics data store, which can be depending on the tool. For example, in case of Prometheus, it is TSDB, which is time series database, and it's written straight to the file system. It's a proprietary technology, but you can use a lot of things. But for this demo purposes, we will use something called Prometheus. Akshay, can you hear me clearly? Yeah. So now, as I mentioned, in the environment, the what happens is number of applications which sends data to the collector. For example, app 1, app 2, app 3, and app 4. Now, each of them may have different attributes. For example, the name of the application, the name of the namespace, the pod name, the deployment, and the standard out, whether it's and its error level, and whatever extra messages. Each of them are then, what you say, transformed into a JSON object and then collected by the collector. So it doesn't delete any of those attributes, but then the collector then adds more attributes, what we call instrumentation, and then puts it onto them. Well, what's the point? And the next step is, what is the point if you have this and you can't see it? So this is where a visualizer comes. It can be a straight point GUI or sometimes a good reporting tool. We will be using something called Grafana, which is kind of become the de facto standard for dashboarding nowadays. Yeah, it's they have open source and the commercial version, but open source is more than capable of looking at the data. Today, we're going to look at, from a demo perspective, Nginx, right? So, of course, visualizer is used by users. So they log in and they look into. So yeah, so what we're going to do today is install a collector, then tell applications, which is Nginx, and then install visualizer and see whether we can log in. That's the flow. Any questions so far, Akshay?
No, there's no question in the chat right now.
Okay, fine. Okay, let me write into the chat. If they have any questions, they can let us know.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I'm going to put also the link for people who can join and if they want to. So yeah, right. Then let's continue the flow. This is the flow. So now what we're going to do is look at how to implement this. So what we're going to do is implement a collector, then enable visualizer, and then let's look at the visualization. This will take around 6 to 10 minutes, and we will be finished by the next 20 minutes, unless someone has any questions. Right? So let's do the demo. So, yeah. So here comes the flow. Put it onto the left half so that you can see. And let me zoom up a little bit. Yeah. So if you look at my system now, kubectl get ns, there is nothing monitoring related. It's default DevOps, nothing. So what I'm going to do is tell Terraform to enable Prometheus. So as I mentioned, I use something called Terraform to enable Prometheus. So I'm going to say ktest enable Prometheus is equal to PRU. I'm going to save it. So this is on the Agile Guru organization. So I'm going to say, and what I'm going to do is cd Terraform git status. So, and I'll do git if you see, I have added one more line. So I'll say Terraform. Oh, sorry. Why? Oh, okay. Org. Um, sorry. Agile Guru. Terraform. Any questions so far? For people who are
Nope.
watching,
Nope.
please share your logins or please share this one so that we can learn it as a team. Hi, Ganesh. So whilst it's doing this, we will open the Google console. So if you look at the developers thing, if you see the managed service for Prometheus is disabled, so I'm just going to enable this. So it will take around 2 minutes or so. So let's see if it starts. Control F, Prometheus, it's disabled. As this is going on, what I'm going to do is also enable the reporting tool, right? So CD, Dave, personal, backstage. And what we're going to do is go to my trusted base and Grafana, and I'm going to make the number of replicas as one. So let's do a git if. So replicas is one. Yeah, it looks like it's doing it. Let's wait. Refresh. Mm, Prometheus, it's waiting. So git status, git add dot git commit minus m git on a git push sub develop. So what I'm going to do is wait for this to come up, but we can always enable the reporting tool. So what I'm going to do is use my trusted Argo CD to see if there is something that needs to be synced. I just changed. Oh, okay, that's strange. Let's see. Oh, what happened? Ah, because the cluster is being upgraded, it will take some time. Sorry, I forgot that bit. Hmm, kubectl get nodes. Normally, it doesn't take this much time. Let's wait for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, and see, understand what's happening. Prometheus, okay, come on. By the way, Ganesh, do you have any questions to you want to ask, or you're just logged in?
Hi, Guru.
Hi.
I- I'm just a beginner, so I can't
Okay, fine. Yeah.
understand what's going. But just I'm watching.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
If you don't have question, please log off so that you can save on the bandwidth from this chat. If you don't have questions, thank you. So whilst this is happening, let's see if the cluster comes up. No. So I will use my other cluster for the demo purposes whilst this is coming up. So what should happen is if you open the console, if you open the Kubernetes cluster, and if you look at something, you will see from a GKE perspective, Control F, Prometheus is enabled. Today's death, you get a managed Prometheus given by GKE itself. In AWS, you have to install it via the AWS console, or you can use Terraform, but that is a separate managed service. Yeah. I hope this is explaining it well. So a managed Prometheus service will ensure that it's working okay. Right? It should be enabled. Now what I'm going to do, this is completed. Okay. So let's see if this is done. Yeah, the application is ready. So we can look at the original one. And I think Argo CD is back. Yeah. So let's do the sync and see what is happening. So you will see that most probably there is one which is missing. Uh, I think there it is. I think the graph. Okay, let me see. I think the Grafana bit which was missing. I think it should be up and running. No, okay. Let's see. Uh, is it syncing? Okay. Grafana. Let's see. kubectl get pods minus n DevOps. Ah, uh, not yet. Strange. Git status. Ah, git push GitHub develop. Everything is good. So what is happening? kubectl get pods minus and DevOps. Uh, okay. kubectl get NS. Yeah, the GMP system is up. So okay, let's do one thing. kubectl apply minus k over k8s overlays DevOps. Let's assume. So sometimes the syncing is not working. Don't know why. So it's out of sync, and I'm telling it to sync, but sometimes Argo CD, there is some delay sometimes. So what we got to do is apply. So ETL minus get pods minus and DevOps. And if you see, huh, is up. Why is it not working? Strange. KCTC. Okay. KCTC. In my DevOps cluster. So why? Okay, let me find out. So in my case, customization Grafana overlays DevOps customization Grafana is included. And GCP Grafana, it is there. So kubectl get pods minus A. Yeah, monitoring Grafana is here. So why is it not working? Ah, there it is. I was using the wrong keys. So now the Grafana is up and running. So if you see now the thing is there. For example, I can look at, for example, anything, how much VM is being used and all those things. So let's try to explore something. Let's say explore, and you want to look at, let's say, my website, how my website's thing. So what we can do is open and say Nginx, in Nginx underscore ingress controller, and I want the number of requests which are coming. So let's say requests. Yeah, this is a counter. I'll do that. And then I want to run the query. So it's telling me, hey, in the last 6 hours, I have got some details, but I want to group it because it doesn't tell me anything. So what I'm going to do is aggregation, the count, yes, and then what I'm going to do is by host. Let's see what happens. It's telling me cloud and all those things in the last, let's say 30 minutes. So here you go. And the bars and the points and stack lines and stack bars. So let's say last 15 minutes or last 5 minutes. So this is how you observe things, right? Any questions? Okay. Guru, are you doing something with Backstage nowadays? We can talk about this after. Yes, no. I'm working with Backstage as a monitoring tool, but we can talk about it. It's in alpha stage at the minute. So yes, we can definitely look at Backstage, and I'm doing some background work, but the basics should be here so that I'm able to do everything. So here, so if I say sync, nice. So this is the pod, this is the service. So LMS sites, Argo CD, front end, Argo, and everything is up and running. Yeah. So Everything looks good. So this is how you monitor the applications. Now, if you look at the data, you can look at a lot of different things, how much memory and all those things. But for example, raw data is like if you want to look at raw data more, then you can look at it. But this is how you implement. Implement, as I mentioned, the collector. Collector here is the Prometheus. It's writing to the database. The visualizer here is Grafana. And the whole environment is a Kubernetes cluster. And you may be wondering, how is this data being sent? Right? So, example, so if you look at this one, this is the settings you need to do, pod monitoring. Once you do that, it will automatically work. So it goes and gets the metrics and says, hey, pod monitoring, hey, please can you go there and get the metrics and shove it into Prometheus. That's it how it works. Cool. Any other questions? Looks like there is no more questions. So I hope this was helpful, and I really hope that if you that you understood the point of using observability tool to understand how your application works. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this one interesting, and if you have any doubts, please reach out to me on my LinkedIn channel or post this own channel. And I hope you have some good fun with observing and becoming a good site reliability engineer, and that's what you get. So have fun, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much, and see you later.